Let's talk about sampling methods. When we are doing some type of observational experiment or, nope. Okay, so let's talk about the different types of sampling when we are doing some type of gathering of data. So the first one we're going to talk about is simple random sample. A simple random sample means that all samples of the same size have the same chance of being selected. So let's say we have 17 houses shown here in these kind of like squares, numbered 1 through 17. So we would just give all of the items in our population a number, and then randomly we would generate, let's say we wanted 5 numbers. So we would randomly generate 5 numbers from a random number generated. And so 8, 13, 3, 7, and 1 would be the houses or people that we would talk to. But we randomly generate numbers and then we talk to or we survey the people or things that are associated with those numbers. Generally is a nice, easy way to think about simple random sampling. Everything, same chance of being selected. When we talk about cluster sampling, so we divide the population into groups, right, that naturally occurring groups. So like in this case, we have 4 roads A, B, C, and D, that each have 5 houses on them, as shown by the squares below the road. So each one of these, and we say, okay, from each group, we will talk to everybody there. So on road A, I'm going to talk to everybody. All 5 of these houses will be part of it. And then maybe road D, and everybody on road D gets talked to. This is a little bit easier, right? You could say this is a little bit of convenient because you're talking to everybody in these same groups. And therefore, there could be a little bit of bias depending on what you're talking about because you are completely disregarding complete groups. So that's cluster, where you talk to all in certain areas. Okay, because the next one that we're talking to is stratified. Now, stratified sampling, similar to cluster in that we are dividing into groups, but with stratified, we divide into things called strata based on a characteristic. So in cluster, they are naturally occurring groups in terms of like people that live on certain roads. That's naturally occurring grouping. With stratified, we create the strata or the groups. So we determine what group or what characteristic we are breaking up, and then we want some from each group. Some being the key word. So let's think of a high school. In a typical high school, there are 4 grades, grades 9, 10, 11, and 12. So let's say we have 5 people from each grade, noted by the 5 circles below each grade level. So if we have 4 strata, right, 4 groups, based on the characteristic of different grades in high school, and then maybe we would randomly, right, so we would go back to that number and we would randomly pick maybe 2 from each grade. And now we have a sample size of 8 and we have a representative from each group. Different than cluster where we completely eliminate some of the groups. That's the big difference. So with cluster, the key is you're taking all of certain groups. With stratified, you're taking some of every group. That's the big difference between those two. Systematic. We are selecting every kth individual, meaning it could be every third, every fourth. So in this case, I have a bunch of people, each one noted by the black circle shown on the screen. If I wanted to take in a systematic sampling every third person, I would count 1, 2, and then I would talk to the third person. 1, 2, talk to the third person. So every time I would count, and every time I get to the third person, I would talk to them. Right, so this is a way to kind of spread it out. You're trying to not be convenient. You're breaking it out. You just have to make sure that you're going in a close enough grouping that you can get a decent sample size. So you're like, if you say, I'm going to talk to every 20th person and only 25 people walk by you, well, you've only talked to one person. And so that's not okay. So just kind of something to think about. The last one is convenience sampling, and it's exactly what it sounds like. So you're looking to select individuals that are easily accessible. So in this case, I have drawn a little movie theater with a little person standing outside that's going to do a survey. And as other people walk to the movie theater, the surveyor asks the question, do you like to go to the movies? Now think about this. These people are walking to the movie theater. So this is a convenient sampling because you are staying in one spot, you're asking a question, you're only talking to people that are going to the movies. So that makes it a completely biased and a convenient sample. Usually not getting the best and most accurate results of any type of question when you are asking in this type of situation where things and people are easily accessible. And that are types of sampling.